Greetings! In episode 3 I had the delightfully complicated setup that allowed us to put strings and get the address of said strings, involving variables, counting length, and dependency order limits. To be honest, it's not how I do it, but I just make a string instances on labels and put the labels in the list. It allowed me to talk about a few things though. Soci of Singular, the author of 64 Tasks, contacted me and pointed out that I didn't read that cryptic paragraph in the manual that solves this problem in section 4.8. Well, I do remember reading it, however, let's refresh. If the scoped variant is prefixed with a label, then the list of the individual scopes for each iteration will be assigned to it. This allows accessing labels within. Okay. It's not Soci's fault. He's not a native English speaker, and this is a rather difficult thing to convey. Now that I know what it does, let us rework the sentence. If the scoped variant is preceded by a label, then the label will be transformed into a list which contains the head scope object or label for the start of the contents of for each iteration. Thus, you can use indexes to get the start address of each iteration and access child labels in the normal fashion. Okay, this is more clear, but I'm sure not crystal clear. So let us rework the example from episode 3 with this new knowledge. Just a quick recap. We are making a title screen and we want to put strings of a color at a location. And I have a list that is in the format of X, Y, color, and string. We don't need the variable anymore as the new B4 will do what we need. So the text block is now just the low and high of text instances. Text instances is defined by the B4. I'm using the for in form this time as I want to iterate over each string, which is the fourth element of each list in the data source list. Then I instance the string with a .text and .byte 0. You can just use null or even just put a comma 0 on the end, but I have my reasons for doing .byte 0. And that is it. Let's look at the output. So now you can see that text instances is a list, not a label, and it holds 3 addresses, because the for loop runs 3 times, and that the addresses are the start of the text. It doesn't actually hold the address, it holds the parent scope for each run, but since we don't do anything with them, they are converted into a label and thus into an address. To show what I mean, let's put a label on the .byte 0. Test will do. So now test is repeated 3 times. How is this possible? Because each iteration or run is wrapped in its own scope. How do you get them? By indexing as shown. And when that is assembled, you will see that the second test is at 87A. If you want to make a low high of all of them, you do, and you get. This is going to simplify a lot of things. See you next time.